Hey everybody, it's Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. I'm Allison Gill.
And I'm Dana Goldberg, and you are watching Beanstalk.
Hello, my friend.
Hi there.
Tuesday. That's all I have to say.
I don't know. It's only Tuesday. Jesus, these weeks seem so long. These days are exhausting. They're exhausting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They really, really are. I wanted to point something out. I didn't really go over this too in depth on the Daily Beans podcast, but about 5 days ago, I posted on Blue Sky. Look at my post here. It says, I hope Georgia sues to get their ballots back like Trump sued to get his classified documents back, but I think Georgia would win. And today, Dana, Georgia has sued to get their ballots back. And I think they'll win. First of all, those weren't Trump's classified documents. They weren't his to sue for. These ballots belong to Georgia. And no one here has been charged with a crime like Trump was when he asked for those classified documents back. And we talked about this a lot on like the Jack podcast and here on the Daily Beans. You can't come to the court with unclean hands, right? Remember when I gave the example I saw something on America's Dumbest Criminals where a crack dealer got taken, like he gave the crack to the guy and didn't get the money and the guy ran away. And so the guy found an actual cop and was like, hey, can you help me get my money for my crack?
Yes.
And the cop was like, we're sorry, we can't help you with that. That's called coming with unclean hands, right? You can't come to the court and say, all that stuff I stole, I want it back, please. You can't do that. But Georgia's hands are clean in this.
Yeah.
And Georgia isn't trying to get some shit back that they stole. Like I said, they're trying to get some shit back that was stolen from them. So it's a very, very different case. I would love to see Special Master Barbara Jones appointed again. And I'm very glad that Georgia's suing to get their stuff back, because the fact that Trump wants to nationalize our elections and that he's suing for voter rolls and losing all of those lawsuits, by the way, and then writing a freaking ransom note to Tim Walz saying, give me your voter data and then I'll pull ICE out. We'll stop killing your citizens.
Yeah, it's infuriating. It's infuriating. Yeah. And despite what you're about to hear from Todd Blanche, that Trump didn't know anything about this raid. Well, he's saying it was a warrant that was executed. This raid, we actually learned that Trump personally ordered Tulsi Gabbard to be there for this raid on the election offices. And he spoke by phone to the FBI agents and to Tulsi Gabbard. There's no reason for the president of the United States to be involved on this level at all. And speaking to FBI agents, like, what the fuck is going on with that? But Todd Blanche assured everyone on Sunday's show that Trump had nothing to do with this. This is such bullshit.
But let me move on to Georgia. Earlier this week, the FBI went into the elections office in Fulton County, Georgia, to seize 2020 ballots, voter rolls, scanner images. And the president told reporters, quote, they got into the votes. You're going to see some interesting things happening. What interesting things is he talking about, and why was he so involved in an FBI and DOJ raid?
Well, just because he said that doesn't mean that he's involved. I don't believe he was involved. This is a criminal grand jury investigation, and I can't comment on it beyond what you just said, which is that there was a search warrant that was authorized by a federal judge, by a magistrate judge in Atlanta, that allowed us to go and seize those records, and they have been seized by the FBI as part of an ongoing criminal investigation.
He said interesting things are happening, so it sounds like he was briefed on it.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not around when the president's briefed or not briefed. What I said is that this is a criminal investigation, so it's a tightly held, as it must be under the law. It's a grand jury investigation, and that's how we're proceeding.
What are they investigating?
As you know, we can't talk about specifics of any grand jury investigation. I will tell you, as I said on Friday, as the president has said, election integrity is of the highest importance to the American people, hopefully to everybody in this country, Democrats and Republicans alike. And so we are doing everything we can to make sure that we have free and fair elections.
Okay. And as you well know, that when it comes to Georgia, claims of voter fraud there, because they got the 2020 ballots, have been debunked over and over again. There were multiple recounts. Why was the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, present at an FBI raid?
First of all, it wasn't an FBI raid. It was a search warrant being executed by FBI agents in the middle of the day.
But why was she there?
And secondly, I don't know why the director was there. She is not part of the grand jury investigation, but she is for sure a key part of our efforts at election integrity and making sure that we have free and fair elections. She's an expert in that space, and it's a big part of what she and her team look at every day. But beyond that, I don't, like I said before, this is a grand jury investigation being conducted by a U.S. attorney, and that's where we have to leave it for now.
Mr. Blanche, imagine if President Biden sent his politically appointed Director of National Intelligence to Mar-a-Lago. You and his other personal attorneys would have been understandably very unhappy about it. Are you unhappy that the DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, was there? Well,
first of all, Biden's director of ODNI was involved in that case, as we all know. So whether Okay, but that's hardly the point.
And it also involved classified documents, not necessarily voter rolls.
And again, there's a lot of classified information around voter integrity, which is something that came out during the case against President Trump and which has been publicly talked about for many, many years. So no, I'm not unhappy or happy. Tulsi can go where she needs to go. She's phenomenal. She's doing a great job, and she's a partner with us. But like I said, folks want to make something out of this that does not exist. This is a grand jury investigation being run by the FBI.
I love the follow-up questions.
Oh, thank God. That's real journalism, like asking follow-up questions. What if it was reversed? What would you do? That's not the case. But I thought you said, but tell me more. And Blanche was just a bumbling idiot in that interview after she started pushing back against him.
Yeah, because she was like, what would you have done if Biden sent Avril Haines, who was the DNI for the Biden administration, sent Avril Haines down for the Mar-a-Lago search? She was part of that. He's like, yeah, but she wasn't there. Like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? And imagine President Biden getting on the phone with the FBI agents from Mar-a-Lago.
Everyone would lose their damn mind.
And being like, what'd you see? Was it great? Good job. High five. Thanks for going after Trump for me. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Ugh, he's just such a lying piece of shit. Trump had nothing to do with it. And now we find out from people who were at that meeting, by the way. I'm very interested to know who's leaking from inside the Trump administration. The big bag of rats is going to sink its own ship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, thank God. Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm. They're like, yeah, this happened. They had a phone call on speakerphone on her cell phone. So about national security stuff, you're just, okay.
Yep.
So he's just full of shit. Also, we learned today that Tulsi is blocking a whistleblower report. This is interesting. She has it in a safe under lock and key, and she says she's blocking it, and she has been for the past 8 months, blocking it from going to Congress. By law, it's supposed to go to Congress. And she's been blocking it, saying that it's executive privilege, which means it's got to do with Donald Trump, and that it's so classified that I can't figure out how to get it to Congress. If you are in charge of the intelligence community and you don't know how to get classified information to the Gang of Eight, that's a big problem.
Yep.
Nothing is too classified to go to Congress. They have SCIFs, they have the Gang of Eight, which is the ranking member and the chair of the House and Senate Intelligence and Homeland Security committees, the intelligence committees. That's it.
Yeah.
And to be like, well, I don't know how to get classified information to Congress for the last 8 months is complete
bullshit.
BS. And by the way, this whistleblower also being represented by Whistleblower Aid, who we partner with here at the Daily Beans. This is the same organization that took care of the whistleblower in the Zelensky call. The same organization that took care of the whistleblower that had the DHS memo saying that we don't need warrants anymore. This is an incredible organization. They are a nonprofit. Again, if you want to donate to them, whistleblower.org/beans, and you can help the work that they're doing to make sure that this whistleblower information gets into the right hands and stays safe and legal.
Wonderful. And I want to bring up a little correction because I like this, especially when I'm corrected for stuff like this, because it makes me very hopeful for the future. And this was yesterday, a story that I covered, and this is rather a counterpoint, I guess, to the one that I shared yesterday. So this is according to Ross Hunt. Okay. It says Republicans didn't lose the Texas State District 9, that runoff, because of low GOP turnout, which is what I heard and which is what I told you all on this video podcast. They lost because almost all of the independents and some of the Republicans voted Democratic. They voted for the Dem, almost all the independents and some of the GOP. Now, of those who voted in the runoff, over 50% were GOP primary voters. Only 35% were Dems. So I was absolutely wrong with this. Yeah.
So half of them are registered GOP primary voters. And he won by 17 points, 14 points, 14 points.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So combine that.
Pretty much all the independents.
Combine all of that, though, AG, with the fact that Republicans that simply don't or won't show up, which is the case, that explains this massive swing of 31 points in a district that voted for Trump by 17 points. So now you have all of the data to understand what happened there. And no matter which way you look at it, it's devastating for Republicans, which is why they're trying to fucking steal the election. In Georgia and Minnesota and all these other places, there's going to be so many shenanigans before November. Just keep your eye on this because it is going to happen. And we're obviously, as a government and a Democratic Party, going to do everything we can to fight it and make sure that we get as free and fair of an election as we possibly can in the state we are living in.
Yeah. And now he wants to say, he said today, I want to nationalize elections. We should nationalize elections, which goes along with my whole theory about why Tulsi Gabbard was there, so that they could say there was foreign election interference and then seize voting machines in the states, because, you know, that's what Rudy Giuliani advised Trump back in 2020, right? January, right before the insurrection. He told him on December 18th, 2020, he was like, look, you can't have the military seize voting machines unless there's foreign election interference. And I think that's why she's there. And now he wants to nationalize elections, and he wants to use that as the excuse to do it, because the Supreme Court has said recently that the president gets due deference and regard when it comes to national security issues and foreign policy.
Yeah.
So
I tell you what, AG, and they're so good at this. And I know the listeners, the people watching are going to understand what I'm saying. They're doing everything we should have done with the proof and knowing that there was foreign election interference in 2016 in the last.
Oh, actual foreign election interference?
Correct. So now, and which they were the ones perpetrating it. So of course now they have all of the fixes of what you should do if there's foreign election interference in the election. It's fucking infuriating. It drives me crazy.
In the Jack Smith investigation, when Donald Trump was trying to say he had every right to question and oversee elections because there was foreign election interference, he actually tried to say Russia interfered in our elections. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, now?
Yep.
You're admitting that? That's really interesting. But the problem is that his own people, Chris Krebs at CISA and Ratcliffe, the DNI, who had Tulsi Gabbard's job in the first administration, said there's not foreign election interference that would be outcome determinative. Nothing would have changed the outcome of the elections. Yes, there's foreign election interference in, social media, psyops, and all that stuff that you did with Russia back in 2016. Yes, that exists. But in 2020, we didn't have any breaking into voting machines, or there were no Italian space satellites that changed the bamboo paper to say Trump or Biden or whatever. It was just the most ridiculous stuff. But the fact that Maduro was sitting in a jail cell right now, probably willing to do and say anything to get out, really has me concerned.
Yeah, that is a really good fucking point. Ugh.
Right? Because of Mike Flynn and Sidney Powell's Hugo Chavez did something. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. And it's all going to come down to whether the Supreme Court believes that the president has any role to play in elections, whether or not the president can nationalize elections. So far, most conservative people who are friends with conservatives on the Justice Supreme Court, like Judge Breyer in the 11th Circuit, they all are very firmly on the side that states and Congress dictate our elections, not the executive. They have no role.
I sure hope it stays that way.
I was 100% certain that the Supreme Court would not give the president immunity.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because that goes against everything that established this country when the founders did that. Now, something else that's institutionally disgusting today that happened that we're learning about, and we've been learning about for the past couple of days, is that the government has released child sexual abuse material. It's part of these Epstein file releases. They've released photos of victims, nude in some cases, which that kind of institutional betrayal, the institution that has promised over and over again to protect these survivors, continues to prove that they don't give a shit about them.
No, they don't. So it almost looks intentional. Some of this looks intentional. It's disgusting.
That's what I was saying, right? It's like,
yeah,
because as you brought it up, they're like, they redacted a picture of Donald Trump that we knew was Donald Trump because it said this is Donald Trump, and it was a bloated guy in a blue coat with a too long red tie and just a black redaction box over his face.
Yeah.
They redacted every single perpetrator's name. They were very careful about protecting Donald Trump's friends, but not the survivors.
Oh, I bet you what happened with that is that they were told redact all photos of Donald Trump in all of these pictures. And so they did. They redacted all photos of Donald Trump in the Epstein files, which one of them was just him standing at a podium, which makes him look really fucking guilty that they're like, oh, well, what are you guys doing? What else are you hiding if you're redacting all the pictures of Donald Trump?
That's just very frustrating. And I feel, I have so much empathy for these survivors surrounding this. It's just got to be horrifying, heartbreaking, traumatizing for a government agency to do this to you. The hypocrisy is, as always, Dana, very stunning. And I think that this post from Josh Eagle sums it up nicely. Let me put this up on the screen. Quote, they told us Democrats would turn America into a show your papers society. They told us Democrats would strip away the Second Amendment. They told us Democrats would jail us for what we say. They told us Democrats would drag us into more foreign wars. They told us Democrats would cover up a child sex trafficking ring. And then Republicans took power and decided to do all of it themselves.
Wow. They sure did. Man, oh man. Mm-hmm. Every accusation has been a confession by this government. Every single one of them. My God.
Yeah. And so we have to really search to like find little moments of joy and find little moments of gratitude and happiness. And for me, last night, it was watching clips of the Grammys.
It was so good. I watched it all in its entirety, and I'm telling you, the performances, the in memoriam, is that what it's called? Mm-hmm. They had 3 different genres of music instead of just one song this time. They had incredible country music. Reba McEntire performed for the first time on the Grammy stage ever, which is shocking to me.
Really?
That's true. Yeah. I imagine she has performed at the CMAs, but this apparently was her first Grammy performance. Trevor Noah announced that it's probably his last year, so he definitely pushed the envelope with a lot of jokes. Now Trump wants to sue him. But the performances, there's something about music and there's something about these artists, especially these new artists when they win. Billie Eilish was also shocked when she won Best Song. Bad Bunny took over Taylor for Best Album, I believe. Mm-hmm. And his speeches were extraordinary because he is an American citizen. He's an American citizen where most people on the other side don't even know Puerto Rico is an American territory. Right. And so when he won, it was a nice reminder that he gave the people of like, look, we are American citizens. I'm not going to give it justice. So just here's his acceptance speech. Check this out.
Before I say thanks to God, I'm going to say eyes out. We're not savage, we're not animals, we're not aliens, we are humans, and we are Americans. Also, I want to say to the people, I know it's tough to know, not to hate on these days. And I was thinking, sometime we get contaminados. I don't know how to say that in English. The hate get more powerful with more hate. The only thing that is more powerful than hate is love. So, please, we need to be different. If we fight, we have to do it with love. We don't hate them. We love our people, we love our family, and that's the way to do it, with love. Don't forget that, please. Thank you. Thank you, God.
I love it. And I love that he's performing at the Super Bowl in a week.
I saw someone
2
say
weeks.
he should wear that little blue hat that Liam Ramos had in his photo. Could you imagine if Bad Bunny came out on stage wearing that? Oh my God. It would be incredible. Billie Eilish is another one that I'm so impressed with her. She's still young. I consider Billie young because I think about 20 years on her. She's using her platform in the most extraordinary ways. AG, every time now she gets awarded at something or she's speaking at something, she's really, really trying to hold these people accountable, whether it's climate change people, billionaires in the room. And here's Billie Eilish. And of course, we had to bootleg this from outside the US because it was censored as it was in the US. But this is her basically saying, this is stolen land.
This really do matter and the people matter. And fuck ICE is all I want to say. Sorry. Thank you so much. I can't believe this.
Love it. Fuck ICE.
Yeah. Fuck ICE. She said no one is illegal on stolen land. And I could tell it, I don't feel like that was a big act of like, should I say this or shouldn't I say this? I feel like that was her genuinely like, you know what? I have to say something. I have a microphone right now. And I was so impressed that there were so many people that were using their platform last night. And of course, the Trumpers and the MAGA have lost their fucking mind. And, now music is woke. All music is woke unless you're Kid Rock and the three people singing at whatever the Republican halftime party is.
They're counter-programming to the Bad Bunny halftime show.
Ridiculous. Apparently,
sad.
Laura Trump didn't make the cut, though, to perform at the other halftime.
No, yeah. And apparently they're not having it at the Kennedy Center because...
No. I can't.
The last thing at the Kennedy Center was the Melania movie, which has tanked and has the lowest score on IMDb ever.
And by the way, the bullshit that came out where they were like, it's one of the most highest grossing documentaries in history. That doesn't mean people were in the seats, everyone. Do you remember when Don Jr.'s book came out and they bought like 40,000 copies of it? Just because this grossed a lot of money, I want to see pictures of theaters with people in the seats because they have a whole lot of money in their coffers that could just go up and buy out tickets and buy out theaters, and there's not a damn person in there. But of course, it looks like it's the highest grossing documentary in the recent past. Come on.
And they've admitted it. This is what happened with the Dinesh D'Souza movie, remember? And then he had to, yeah. They've actually said that one of the White House faith leaders and official White House accounts was telling people to buy 30 tickets to help support the First Lady.
Yeah.
And yeah,
so
but the Don Jr. book, very, very good example, very good memory. They had 400,000 copies, I think the RNC bought.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was. And let's remind everyone that Melania movie is producer directed. I think it might be directed by a guy that's been named in the Epstein files. Apparently, he was he was respected back in the day in Hollywood. The Hurt Locker, maybe. I might be wrong on that one. But then there was a bunch of women that came out and accused him of sexual assault, disappeared for a while, came back as a Trumper. And this is his first movie back on Hollywood's radar. Mind-blowing, just disgusting. And he's in so many photos with them.
And it's, it's one of those things where it's kind of like how I talk about Trump doesn't launch investigations in order to get convictions. He just does it to throw things into question.
Yeah.
This movie wasn't made to be a box office hit. It was made to be a money laundering situation so that people could bribe, particularly Bezos, Donald Trump. That's what this was. Because
You're absolutely right.
of the $40 million that he paid for this movie, 28 of it goes to Trump's family. So
disgusting.
it's just a bribe. It's just out there money laundering front. I remember when I was doing the Mueller stuff, and looking at there was a movie production company by a guy called Joe Lowe. He was part of this, and he was using it as a money laundering joint. He produced The Wolf of Wall Street, and because there was a criminal investigation into him, Leonardo DiCaprio had to give a Picasso back to the government that was gifted to
serious?
him.
I didn't hear any of this.
By Joe Lowe. Yeah, I got really deep into the Mueller investigation.
That's wild. Yeah, I guess that's true. That's true.
So that, this was clearly, a lot of these movie companies are set up to be money laundering situations. And the fact that Mnuchin, Steve, remember him, our Treasury Secretary from Trump 1? He owned a movie production company called Rat Pack Dune, which he had to divest when he became Treasury Secretary. And he divested all of his shares to a guy named Blavatnik, who donated $100,000 through a straw donor illegally to Trump's inaugural. So anytime you want to get out a big old murder board and get into the weeds about weird dot connections, Ice-T was involved in all of it. It's a lot. But, the Mueller, She Wrote podcast went over all of this stuff. It was bizarre and bananas, but that's all Melania is. It's a slush fund to bribe Trump.
Yeah, all of this is connected. I mean, this last Epstein dump, and there's different people covering it. There's so much Putin interference in this, but like Putin and Yahoo and Epstein after his arrest, communications, email, I cannot believe how, I feel like the foundation of the last 30 years of this country, probably more than that, but it's so steeped in this sex trafficking ring that goes global. It's just disgusting. I want to tear it all down and start over, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's all the oligarchs.
Yeah. My God.
That's who we should always be focusing our ire upon.
Yes.
And we've got some really great candidates, I think, in the next year, 2 years that are going to be focusing on that. So everybody, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate you. Again, if you want to help support these whistleblowers, you can donate to Whistleblower Aid, whistleblower.org/beans. That's just the link just for us. And you can help. It's a nonprofit too, so it would be a tax deductible donation. So if you're doing your charity stuff and you're like,
nice.
we need to do some charitable donations, consider whistleblower.org/beans. Do you have anything else that you want to add before we get out of here today? I feel like I'm leaving something out, but that feels like every day with the amount of fire hose of news that we have to deal with.
Yeah, no, I think we covered enough for this episode. If we missed anything, you'll see it tomorrow.
You will see it tomorrow. And until then, I'm Allison Gill.
And I'm Dana Goldberg, and you've been watching Beans Talk.
With swearing. Daily Beans, Daily Beans.